All right. Well, hello, good morning, good evening, and maybe good night for some of you. In case you don't know where you're at, you have joined the Singularity University call on the Incubator. So welcome. This is Monique Giggy, and I'm here with Molly Pyle.
Hello, welcome. Thanks for joining.
So in case you don't know what Singularity University is, our mission is to educate, inspire, and empower leaders to apply exponential technologies to address humanity's global challenges. Now, I don't know about me, I know Molly's super curious. Where are you guys from? I'm dying to know who's on the call today. If you just answer that poll right on the site there. Let's see, I'm seeing some folks coming in from Asia. Oh, Europe, nice. North America, South America, a lot of South Americans. Woo.
Hola.
Australia, Oceania. All right. More
from the Middle East. Hello.
Keep them coming. Wow, this is how the group breaks out. Awesome. Wow, welcome everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. We've got a great, nice, diverse group of people here. Let's see here. One more question for you. How did you hear about us? How did you hear about SU Ventures? Did you learn about us from email? Were you getting a bunch of my emails, maybe from a global summit? Did one of your great friends or colleagues refer you over the website? Have you attended a program? Super curious. Lots from email. All right. Okay, some folks from Global Summit. Nice. Lots of referrals. Amazing. Wow, the power of this community always astounds me. Lots of emails. And some people have attended programs before. Awesome. Let's see those results. Cool. So you can see, boy, our email marketing is working. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. All right. So let's go through the agenda today. So we're going to spend, Molly and I here, about 30 minutes talking with you about the Singularity University Incubator, and then we want to give you a lot of time to answer questions in case you've got any. I'm sure there will be some. This call will also be followed up with a recording to this, so in case you want to hear it again or share it with friends, and we'll also be sending out an FAQ as well. So lots of ways to engage. So first off, let me introduce you to the team, and so you can actually put a face to the voice. I'm Monique Giggy, so I am the short one on the left that has my mouth wide open. My mother would be so proud. Mikhail Holst is our portfolio manager. He's responsible for finding companies from around the globe for SU Ventures. Next to him, going from left to right, is Molly Pyle. Want to tell him who you are?
Hi, I'm the program manager for SU Ventures and the Incubator.
And we do have a lurker here with us. She's actually in this picture as well. On the far right there is Jill Finlayson.
Hey, happy to meet you all, and I'm your person for mentorship questions.
That's right, and probably one of the most well-connected people I know in the world. All right, so that's us. And yes, we are that happy. So everybody always asks me this question, so I thought, why not just start the webinar out talking a little bit about our traction. So to date, we have 58 companies in our portfolio. They've collectively raised $290 million. We have created well over 500 jobs, and 75% of our portfolio is global. Our mission at SU Ventures is to increase the number of startups that are focused on impact globally. And we do that in a couple of different ways. We either will cast the net around the planet and find startups, bring them here, give them a bunch of different connections and programs, help them build their ventures, or we'll grow them up through our programs, much like the Singularity University Incubator. And since that's what you all are here for, let's talk a little bit about that. So what we're really good at here is we're good at gathering people or finding people around the world that have ideas. And maybe they're already amazing ideas, and we want to take those ideas and turn them into moonshots. We want to 10x those ideas and then point them in the direction of coming up with an idea that could positively improve the lives of 1 billion people. Our program is pretty awesome. It breaks out over the course of 10 weeks, and every single week has a specific sprint for it. I'm going to walk you through it high level and then turn it over to Molly, who's actually going to take a deep dive into that with you. So week one is all about the problem. We get tired of entrepreneurs that are a solution looking for a problem. We like to start them at the problem and then help them conceive and really understand the technologies for their solution. So week 1, we take a deep dive into the problem. Week 2, we explore the exponential technology space, and we take a great shot at the solution. Week 3 and 4 is build. Weeks 1 and 2 are so intense with content that when you go into weeks 3 and 4, you are all about building and validating. So we give you time to get your hands on equipment, start doing some paper prototyping, start designing surveys, get you out into the field. Then we come back and you have content again on week 5. We focus heavily on go-to-market. This is important because at some point in time you got to get your product out there. So we want you to start analyzing the market, see where you might start, identify and isolate where your customers might ultimately be. Week 6 is heavily on funding. Once you've got this great idea, you've got to start thinking about how you're going to capitalize that. Is that going to be generating revenue from your customers off the bat and bootstrapping? Are you going to go maybe seek an angel round? Are you so focused in the impact space that impact investing or philanthropy is a really good way, maybe some government grants? We explore a lot of that in week 6. By week 7, you're launching. And it might not be an actual launch, but what we want to do is make sure you've got a video, make sure you've got material, a cohesive narrative. That way when you go back and start implementing and getting out into the field, people understand what it is that you're trying to accomplish. They get your mission. It's landing on them. So we spend a lot of time helping you create a narrative that people will get excited about. And in weeks 8 through 10, you're checking in with your mentors on a regular basis, your EIRs with us, you're doing office hours, you're getting your team set up in your country, and you're still sprinting. So let's break that down a little bit more, because if you're like me, that just wasn't enough. You want more details. Molly, would you mind walking us through what this experience is going to be like from them? Maybe start a week at a time?
Of course, yeah. So like Monique mentioned, week 1 is all about the problem. And so in this week, we're really going to dig into how you can –
week 2.
Oh, wow. Exponentially there, which is really what we do here at SU. So in week 1, we'll really help you understand the problem and seeing the problem from multiple angles and really understanding and uncovering the key stakeholders and integrating what others have tried. So we have some custom methodologies that we've developed to help people really dig into problems and ensure that you're solving the right problem and that it truly is a problem. And we have amazing faculty here around Global Grand Challenges that you will get to meet and hear from during week 1. So
yeah, we had one of our incubator companies from last cohort that was coming up with an idea to bring water to Africans, for individuals in Kenya, and they focused their problem sprint so heavily in that spot that when they came up with the idea to pull the water out of the air, they had a clear understanding that they needed to make that product so cheap because ultimately their market couldn't afford to pay much.
Yeah, so after week 1, you've really been confident in the problem space. You move on to week 2, where then we'll do the same thing with the solution. And we'll really make you understand how exponential technologies, a technology we really specialize in at SU, can 10x your solution and 10x your impact. And we'll also give you a look into the future of your industry. So what kind of world will we live in when you're trying to really apply the solution down the road? And you'll also get to prototype with our expert engineers and designers. We have an iLab here on SU campus. You can learn unique survey design processes and interview skills as well, which is going to be really important because the following 2 weeks, weeks 3 and 4, you're actually going to go out into the field and start building and testing.
Yeah, we had one team that was doing wanted to create the largest repository of forest data. And during the solution week, they wanted to bring in a hyperspectral camera so they could actually see what kind of data could be captured by pointing this hyperspectral camera at different leaves. And so this is the time when some of those ideas bubble up. We've seen other teams that start to combine what is going on with artificial intelligence as a solution to solving healthcare. How is the blockchain currently being used to solve areas of, not coupons, what was going on? Using the blockchain to track how people were grabbing. Anyways, I'm forgetting the line of thought, but I was trying to throw you an example.
Moving to access to credit.
Yeah.
Like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so after weeks 1 and 2, you will have so much information, content. You'll have sat in many workshops, and then we'll give you some time in week 3 to build. So there will be no content during week 3. It's all about getting your hands dirty and really getting out into the field, testing some of your major assumptions, and getting real feedback instead of just confirmation bias, thinking that you might know exactly who your customer is already. So during this week, you are just set free, and you can start to embark on the path to product market fit. That's really what it's all about, is getting you out there and actually putting to the test the survey that you designed in the prior week.
Yeah, and we think a lot of people will want to go into a particular market. So this isn't a program for U.S. entities. You don't have to be from the U.S. to come into the incubator. And if you discover that your market is really in Brazil, this is a great time to actually grab a flight, go down to Sao Paulo and run some tests.
Yeah, because you'll have the following week as well. Week 4 is also a week without content or workshops. It's more build time, where you have access to our iLab, like I mentioned, where we have a team of designers and engineers ready to work with you and actually help you create a real prototype or iterate on a prototype you may have already thought of. If you're not using an actual product, or if you're not building a product, it's okay. You can also learn by doing and creating a process, so prototype some sort of process, or you can also just focus, again, on what the customer journey will look like during this week. So really, your minimum viable product is what you'll be focusing on building during weeks 3 and 4, and we give you the time and space and experts that you need to ensure that you're actually making progress on that goal.
Yeah, and once we've selected the cohort here, what we do is we work with our iLab team to figure out where are the ideas circulating around. Once we get into the solutions week, we're also starting to understand what solutions people are gravitating to. And our iLab will flex and start to bring in the domain resources. That way, as you're looking at different exponential technologies to apply to your business, you've got that resource in the iLab. Interestingly enough, the picture that you're looking at is a test that we did in a refugee camp with a company out of our portfolio called X2AI. And what they were trying to test was an artificial intelligence solution, so a chatbot in a refugee camp. So this is a great example of an exponential solution being applied to a place into refugee camps, and where they actually went into the field to deploy this.
Great. So after weeks 3 and 4, your building time is done, and you're going to market now in week 5. And in week 5, we're really focusing on helping you understand go-to-market strategies and who is your first customer. So who's willing to pay? What problem are you really solving? And we'll give you the 101s. Make sure you truly understand insider tips and tricks on sales, negotiation, business models, market sizing and segmentation, metrics, sales pipeline management, how to monetize innovation, naming, branding, everything you need to know really to actually start to turn your idea, your moonshot, into a viable startup.
Yeah, and a lot of this, keep in mind that this isn't something, it's building a business, and a business just doesn't spring up. It evolves over time. But what we like to do is give you the things to be thinking about, because as an organization that believes in exponentials, what we want to do is give you the guidance that you need. You've got so many mistakes that entrepreneurs make are made because they just don't have access to the networks or the resources or the information, and so they learn by mistake making. And we try to eliminate that by giving you a lot of content to set you up front. Once this program is over, you continue to re-engage with us, and we continue to stay relevant and connected as you build your venture over time.
Yeah, so then in week 6, we help you focus on funding, and we actually bring in top VCs from the Valley to teach fundraising from venture capital. You'll also learn how to access $3 trillion in philanthropy through impact investing. So how to raise non-dilutive capital. How do you access these philanthropic dollars and government grants, which can really help you, especially at the early stage that you'll be in. We'll also bring in some founders who have really truly walked the talk and successfully raised money, both in Silicon Valley and internationally. So this is not just for folks based in the U.S., as we mentioned.
Yeah, what's interesting about this week that I like the most is you learn, for those that have an idea that is truly impact-oriented, you learn about the world of philanthropy as well, where there's access to about $3 trillion in capital there. And what we try to do is just give you a model by which you can take in non-dilutive capital as you're growing your business. And then when you're ready for actual venture funding, bringing that in when it's appropriate. We spend a lot of time talking about fit during this week. And we spent a lot of time also showing you the world of government grants. And the SBIR and STTR are just two programs here in the U.S., but there's the Horizon 2020 program in Europe. There's a whole myriad of different government grants that are out there. And so we have experts that come in, look at what your idea, help you look or understand what your idea is, and then tell you where your particular technology might be relevant and applicable to have a high success at winning one of these grants. So we take a very holistic view at how are you really going to capitalize your business during this week.
Yeah, and we also actually go over the details, if you don't know, about cap tables, patents, IP, equity, and different kinds of legal structures to set up your entity. So it's a very important week filled with essential info, leading up to week 7 where you actually launch. And so in this week, we will have you work with our very skillful pitch coach to develop an expert sort of narrative that explains what you do, who you are, and how to really communicate your value proposition so that you can get buy-in and get people excited and believing in what you're doing. And that's in front of the Silicon Valley community and the SU network on stage at what we call our demo fair. And our demo fairs are always these really amazing events that bring together folks from different walks of life, and it's just an amazing occasion for you to actually showcase all of the hard work that you've done. However, we acknowledge that during this week, it's truly just the beginning, so we do not expect you to have fully built something in 7 weeks. We do expect you to be at your minimum viable product, or what that looks like for you, and then have built a roadmap. That's the other focus of this week, a roadmap with a critical path to success. So once you get back into the real world, what is actually going to happen now? How are you really going to start the startup and turn it into a successful entity?
Yeah, and the key thing to know about this week and why it's important is that you're going to go back to your countries. You're going to go back into, with your team and start building. And you really want to have a cohesive, easy to understand explanation of what it is that you're building, because you're going to use that to recruit people. You're going to use that to potentially raise money. You're going to use that narrative to galvanize others into your vision, into your mission. And so while this is a demo fair and it leads up to that, it's really bigger than that. It's about giving you the power of words.
Yeah, and so after the 7 weeks that you will have spent in Silicon Valley, so the incubator is held for 7 weeks on SU campus in NASA Research Park in Mountain View, California. After these 7 weeks, you will return to your home country or your home city. It's really important to note that we want you to go back home for 8, 9, and 10 weeks of the program so that you can begin setting up and actually meet reality. We understand that it will be difficult and a bit of an adjustment to go from being in the incubator to then going into the real world. So that's exactly why we've set up this program in this way, that you will have 3 weeks of the program remote. So we will not be meeting every day in our classroom building like we will. You will actually have maintain your momentum, though, through check-ins with mentors and entrepreneurs in residence who will be supporting you like as a temporary board. They'll help make sure that you're accountable to the roadmap that you developed in week 7 so that you're actually hitting those milestones that you need to, which are critical to your success in these early days especially, so that you don't feel like you're lost or bogged down or not able to succeed or go forward.
Now, one common thing that is woven throughout the entire program is what we call level up. Running a company is just as much about understanding how to build a company, but in addition to that, you have to know how to lead. And individuals that are coming up with amazing technological solutions and creating real impact and change in the world, it requires a very unique leadership skill set. And we spent the entire time together cultivating those leadership skills with you. We call this through our level up. You'll get, as it says here, you get a mindset of successful entrepreneurs. We're going to help you build actual leadership skills. And then everybody has drawbacks and setbacks that occur, and so we want to let you walk away with some tools on how to navigate that with your team. Okay, our network. So everybody asks this question, and it's probably the heart of what Singularity University is all about, is this insane network. We've got over 350 mentors that work with all of our companies and our founders. There's access to over 300 SU faculties, speakers, and then our staff that's local here. We've got over 250 investors and funders and ecosystem partners. And their domain expertise is pretty incredible as well. This is a nice little word cloud here that breaks out, what business skills that they have on the left, and then what technological skills they have on the right. And we spend a lot of time actually making curated matches. So we're looking to see, what expertise do you need? Who can we get and galvanize around your expertise? So you're going to have a lot of questions that are going to come up. And as you bring those to us, we'll help make the matches that we have. So this is just a very small sample of our mentors. And then this next slide here is actually a list of all of our faculty. So, Jill, maybe you want to talk just a little bit about what your approach is to mentorship and how important that is.
It's really a critical part to helping the company succeed. And as you said, there's a whole matching process to that, but it's sort of a three-way street. One is we have the founders, you, the people attending the program, actually look at our database, find the people that you would be excited to work with, and we try to connect you with them. But we also have these mentors who look at the companies that are coming in, the ideas that are being sparked, and they know who they can help and who they're passionate about accelerating. So between those two, we're really finding the right people, and then if we don't have the exact person or skill you need, we have a team that will go out and find that person for you. So we will go out and get the expertise you need in the sector or industry or exponential technology to make you successful.
Sweet. Thanks, Joe. Appreciate that. And one of the questions that we've also received is, I actually need co-founders, and I'm probably going to come by myself and bring my idea, and how can I get a co-founder? That's where, our network is pretty insane. We have about 164,284 community members globally. You can kind of see the distribution there. We have nearing 40,000 alumni in 127 countries. And so being a part of the SU network gets you access to all of these individuals from within our community. Another idea is networking through our chapters. To date, we have 127 chapters globally. That number still continues to shock me, in 100 countries. And so there is an SU chapter all the way around. Something else that's really unique about SU, it's our alumni, but as you break it down a little bit more, it's actually our partnerships as well. So this is a super small sampling of our corporate and impact partners. We do a lot of programming for senior level executives at a lot of these firms, and they are always, super curious about who our startups are so that they can meet them. A lot of unique partnerships and have come out of, a mixture of our startup programs and then our enterprise programs. Before I go into who are, an example of some of the companies in our portfolio, why don't I at least share, some stats about how our previous two incubators have done. So to date, we've had 28 startups that have completed the incubator, and that's, sometimes teams will come in as single, doubles, 5, and they might reconfigure, but from start to finish, we've had 28 that have completed. Of those, 20 are still active, so that's 71%. 12 of them, or 60%, have gone on to raise capital. And then from a diversity perspective, they break out as about 79% have at least one female co-founder, and 79, interestingly enough, of ethnic diversity. So when I say that we are global in nature, it's because we are truly global in nature. This next slide just gives you a sampling of some of the startups that have come out of our programs or that we have found around the world. If you're curious to know what they're working on or who they're doing, Jill just popped in a link, or Jill's going to pop in a link to our portfolio companies, and you can check them out even further. So here's where we're at. This incubator will start on April 2nd and end on June 5th. On June 8th, because I can tell the difference between a 5 and an 8. So it starts on April 2nd, ends on June 8th. Applications close on February 16th. If you haven't applied yet and you're like, how do I apply? You can go to the URL there. It's just su.org incubator. The cost of the program is $18,000 US, and that does include your housing. I myself did the Global Solutions program back in 2014, so I have stayed in the dormitories that are here. They are quite the experience, but it does really enrich it when your cohort and you are bonding and you're having content in the morning, you're learning about all these technologies, you're ideating, you're focused on solutions, and then at night, your neighbors right next to you, you just continue on into the night exploring ideas. As of to date, because I get this question all the time, we've had well over 200 applications, and I expect that number to continue to grow as we get nearer to the incubator. And likely we will take about 30-ish individuals into the program. So I know you probably have some questions. So use the live chat feature that's there to enter your questions. I'm going to, as they start to roll in, which they already have, I'm going to, between Molly and I and Jill, we're going to try to answer as many of them as we can.
There's a really straightforward one. Where's the incubator held?
The incubator is held here at NASA Ames, NASA Research Park in Mountain View, California. It is a throwback into another era. It has the most splendid historical hangar that I've ever seen, where they used to park Zeppelins, and Zeppelins are just these ginormous things, but you get to see the skeletal structure of the Zeppelin hangar. It's a very, very unique and special place.
Yeah, I saw someone else asked if you have to be a U.S. entity, and I think we mentioned earlier you definitely don't have to be a U.S. entity. However, you also don't even have to be an entity at all. You would be more successful, I think, in the incubator if you were an idea stage startup or just an individual or a pair of individuals with an idea. So we're not expecting you to be a formalized entity at this point. In fact, it's totally all right if not. If you're just someone with an idea or at an idea stage of your startup, through this process you can go transform that idea, that moonshot, into a minimum viable product and into a viable startup. And from there, our hope is you'll continue on with us and join our portfolio at SU Ventures.
Yeah, so just to kind of set the stage, there's going to be a combination of individuals that come in with ideas. There's going to be teams that come in with ideas. And then there's going to be existing companies that have already been established, but they want to try something new. They want to innovate on a new product, for example, or something like that. They're also going to come in and do that. So it's going to be a pretty diverse cohort in terms of stage.
I see someone else asked what are the dates of the next incubator too. And so if you can't join us for the spring incubator, which starts on April 2nd, you can join us in the fall. That starts September 3rd, and it goes until November 9th.
All right, another great question. Let's see, I like it. 10 weeks seems a bit short for what is necessary. I'm thinking 12 to 18 months. You are thinking 100% absolutely right. Jill, if you could you put their names as well?
Okay.
Because you're right, this is just getting you set up and uncovering as many unknowns as humanly possible in 10 weeks. You've actually got to go and build and get traction and turn this into a company, but you're not alone, right? Once you're in it within the network, we continue to nurture you as you're going along. Next question. If I'm also representing a listed company and their prospective incubator, is this the right forum? If you wouldn't mind, whoever answered that question, I didn't quite understand what you meant by that. Will you pop it into the text or into the Q&A again? Bruno, hello. Any companies that have had actual exits? We've had 2 exits to date, and they were primarily acqui-hires, so nothing major. This portfolio is still very young. We started, Singularity University started in 2009 and has been growing its startups over time, so there have not been any massive unicorns yet. Let's see.
I saw a question from Tom. Are you going to be involved with Unreasonable at Sea, onboard semester at sea again? Not this time around. However, the folks at Unreasonable are close friends of ours and often help out in a mentor capacity. So while we're not going to sea, they are always accessible if there's some connection there that we would like to be made.
Let's see. Boy, I don't want to mispronounce your name. Weary? Can you elaborate on the iLab? So yeah, the iLab is it's basically what we call an innovation center. It has a whole series of different types of machines that you can use for prototyping. It has its own external staff that supports it and works with our, it's basically a makerspace. It operates and looks very much like a makerspace.
Yep, there's a 3D printer you can use, there's laser cutters, there's other things like there's a robotics kind of division that can help you if there's automation or mechanics that you need to work on. So, and we also will bring in a team of engineers for the prototyping week that actually you can have office hours with, so you can get one-on-one support with designers and engineers on thinking through your prototype.
Diego, welcome. If the idea involves heavy code writing, for example, do you have coder teams or similar? We do not have coder teams. We can certainly make recommendations, but we don't have a team standing by ready to write code for you. Rocky, hello. Possible financing, the fee. Right now, nope. We hope that this program continues to grow, and we'll offer scholarships at some point down the road, but for this one, no, there's no scholarships or financing.
I saw Bruno asked if I go alone, there's a chance that someone will join me in week 2 for good. It is up to them. So of course it's up to anyone who you can compel to join your company, and it doesn't have to be in week 2. We will address this though. You're certainly not alone in the fact that you may be coming here as a single individual who just wants to start a startup. That's totally okay, and like we mentioned, we have a very powerful network where we've built in many opportunities throughout the program for you to meet these folks and potentially find a co-founder somewhere else in the larger SU community and network. So although it may not happen immediately for you, we can definitely work with you and build in opportunities for you to meet people who could become your co-founders, and there will be chances for that to happen in the program and throughout the program.
Yep, and we've actually seen that happen as well, that teams will start to grow. Those that are accepted into the incubator, we will cover, food and lodging for you. Anybody else that you bring in will need to sort that out for themselves. Let's see, Sammer, hello. So I'm from overseas, the Middle East, okay. I'm involved with a startup and was wondering if we can collaborate with you to build a mini incubator. Okay, sure. Send me an email. I think that's an interesting question, so definitely send me an email. All right, Andre, let's see here. So will more formal information be requested after the application, such as a business plan or Canvas? Yeah, there will be some canvassing that will be done that will help you along. We'll introduce you to the business model Canvas. It's not required, but you will definitely want that tool to be able to use it.
Bruno, I saw you also asked, does everyone on the team have to pay the program fee? Yes. So even if you have a team of 4 and you all want to join, you're looked at as individuals, so you each need to apply and you each need to pay the fee and register independently because we need that information on you, your specific preferences, needs, etc. So please, even if you want to bring your whole team, do apply every single person, and every single person will go through the process. So Mauro asked, can we get an acceptance letter before our final decision and payment? Yes, that's actually exactly the way that it works. So we will start, we started first round of acceptance a couple of days ago, and we will continue that process until we have filled up the cohort. Let's see here. Do you have to be a U.S. entity? I think we discussed that one. You don't. This is great for individuals with ideas. It's great for
entities that want to ideate further. It's good for startups that are currently stuck. They want to 10x their idea and take it to the next level. For the team to come and do this, it's good for individuals within large corporations that really are considering maybe a spin out or a new product that want to come and get exposed to the entrepreneurial community, the power of exponential thinking, the understanding of how technologies are ultimately going to shape our future, how they converge. It's good for people who are in that stage. So you do not have to be a U.S. entity. Do you guys help with legal entity incorporation, et cetera? We do. But it depends on what you mean by the word help. We will offer guidance. We can talk to you about pros and cons. We will not actually structure or set up your legal entity. You'll really want to have an attorney for that. But you'll be able to learn from experiences of others and then ultimately make the decision for yourself.
Yeah, in our last incubator, we brought in 4 different law firms, and we let our participants have legal office hours with these law firms and essentially shop around and decide for themselves who could help them best formalize their entity. And we also give you information on different types of hybrid structures or what entity would make the most sense for your company.
Yeah, we've seen, Forest for a Future is one that came out of our last incubator. They ended up going and deciding that a 501c3, which is a U.S. A U.S. nonprofit was better for them. They have a foreign NGO right now. Others have actually gone down and done the Delaware C Corp because they know they ultimately want to raise money in the U.S. at some point or commercialize in the U.S. Some decided to just incorporate back in their countries. So we will talk about the pros and the cons of each. We also have existing partnerships with law firms locally that also have global representation that we have pre-negotiated rates with. So you can leverage kind of economies of scale through our network as well. Diego, how can people invest in these early stage ventures? So if you are asking because you are an investor, you can join our investor network, and the how is pretty straightforward. We do a lot of curated matching. So if anybody who signs up for our investor network, we match based on their thesis, what kind of startups they're looking for, and we help make those introductions. And so that's the flip side for anybody who's going to join the incubator and ultimately start a company. We do have a lot of investors that watch the technology, that watch the founders and the startups that come out of our programs looking to invest. It's quite common.
Query has a follow-on question. Investors already offered to invest. Should we wait until the end of the program or take the investment before the program starts?
I can't answer that one. I'd have to know a lot more detail about your specific case. And we probably don't want to get into that on the webinar.
Query also asked, does that mean you have to be technical founders? Regarding, I believe, our answer that we don't have coders available. So Query said, as in we have to hire or find coders. So I feel those are 2 different things, to be a technical founder and then to hire or find coders.
Yeah, I mean, you could, let's see.
You don't have to be a technical founder. You will need to know what you're looking for, but again, we can connect you with mentors and others in our network who can help you flesh that out more, a job description of your CTO or another co-founder with the skills that you need. So it's totally okay if you don't have the technical capabilities to pull off the tech you want to apply on your solution. During the program, you will have the time and space and facilitated kind of networking so that you can find someone who can help you deliver what you need to.
Yeah. Another application question. Is one application per company, and then you can list the number of members coming from that company, or each individual in the company? How does the acceptance work?
Yes, every single person who would like to participate must apply individually, and they must pay the program fee individually.
Yep.
So it's wonderful if you want to bring more people, but every single person must apply and submit the application by Friday and pay the fee themselves, because that's just how we're going to treat it, case-by-case, individual basis.
Yeah, Ramesh asks a really interesting question here too. So it's kind of 2 parts. Like, since this is a major social impact initiative, is there funding support? And then follow-up as in, can he access this recording to discuss with possible funders? So interestingly enough, we run global impact challenges where sponsors will sponsor individuals to come to this program. We ran one in Japan, and there was, do you remember Japan? Argentina. And there will be more running. So you can look into the global impact challenges and see if any of those are in your geography. It's also, if I would say absolutely. If you know that there is somebody out there that would sponsor you to come to this program because they like your idea, because you're focusing on a solution that's near and dear to their heart, you can absolutely take this recording to them and connect them with me, and I'd be happy to substantiate, what we've talked about. Again, assuming that you're accepted, and see if they can sponsor you. I think that's a brilliant idea. Very entrepreneurial, I must say.
Mauricio asked if the $18,000 is one payment, or can it be paid in different times throughout the course? The way that it's set up, it is a one-time payment before your participation in the course begins. We need that confirmation that you will actually come and participate and reserve your seat through submitting the payment.
Let's see, scholarships and, why are people no longer funding GSP? I had a feeling that question was going to come up at some point in time. It's just GSP is on pause this year. It will be back live again next year for sure. Let's see, Jose. Let's see. Maybe he's asking about, is it very important that we stay for 2 months at SU? I think you get the most out of the program if you can participate fully, wholly, and be a part of it every day. Every year, though, I must say, we have people that kind of come in. They fly in and fly out, or they can't stay for the whole thing, and every single time they regret it at the end of it. When we do our closing circle, they say, I wish I would have been around and a part of this and really put my whole self into it. So while we won't, if you don't stay the whole time, we're not going to, slap your hand for that. You really are depriving yourself of the experience.
And Andre, who said when will be announced the selection, so who's getting selected? We are doing it starting now. We did a round of early selection as we had many applicants and many qualified applicants that stood out to us. So the early selection round has begun, and from here on out through February 26th, you can expect admissions notifications.
Yep. The reason that we're closing, we closed on the 16th is because we wanted to give people enough time and notice to get their visas. So we're not going to be dragging our feet when it comes to acceptance. It's going to be, you'll get an email from us. You want to kind of read through everything, make sure you're comfortable with it. If you're good to go, you're excited, sign it, and we get you rolling from there.
Ramesh would like to know if he can bring a companion, even though the companion wouldn't participate in the program.
I don't mind. People have come with families before. You keep in mind that the tuition that we pay covers your room, so your bed. You're sharing it with a roommate. If you, for whatever reasons, don't like that type of accommodation, or you prefer to have your own, you want to stay at the Four Seasons, I'm not going to knock you for it, but that's totally on your dime. If you want to come and rent a house here in the Valley and bring your family, go for it. You just want to make sure that you show up every day for the program. And I don't want to discourage anybody. This is one of those programs, though, where you are in it. Like, it is all-encompassing. You are getting a lot of things done. You are learning a lot. You are moving very, very fast. So if you do bring family, if you bring friends, if you bring children, I highly encourage you to have a very open conversation with them that you likely won't see them that much, even though you're sharing a house, and that you will be heavily preoccupied with the people that you share a house with. So,
yeah, we just ran a sprint, and we were talking with some of the founders who were here till 1 in the morning, and they were back at it at 8 in the morning.
Yep. I mean, this is one of those programs that changes your life, and it's because you end up throwing yourself completely into it.
Definitely. We're in the venture building business, and it's a business that never sleeps. And I saw Marcio wrote, just to confirm, how do we add all the team in the application, example 4 or 5 people? It is possible in the application. There's a question that asks if you have a startup already or not. You click yes, and then there's a space to mention your co-founder. In that space, you could write more about the additional members of your team. Just again, each person who you would like to come and participate must apply and be selected individually. So if you want to bring all 5 people from your team, that's awesome, but just make sure all 5 of them submit the application individually.
We just got a long question from Chris here from Belize.
Oh, I got married. I got married in Belize, actually, in San Pedro.
Wow.
Yeah, La Isla Bonita. Okay, commitment from April to June. Sorry, this is, Chris, I'm just reading through this really fast. Are there programs that are shorter? Okay, so you're worried about the length here. There's not. We have this incubator, which is a long program, and then there's another one in October.
Maybe you want to talk just briefly about SU Ventures, though.
I mean, yeah, but you know what? There's going to be another webinar call for that, and I will email this list and make sure you all join. Okay, I may be in the area in March. Yeah, so you know, if you're ever in the area, feel free to swing on by. But really, you get the most out of this program when you can come start to finish.
Yeah, and someone else asked if they could still apply to GSP after the incubator, and our answer is that GSP is on pause and being slightly redesigned, and I don't see why you couldn't do both in the future. I think that would be a fantastic experience for you, so there's no reason why not, and it's just something to stay tuned for. But for now, I think the incubator is your best fit for taking that moonshot idea that you may have and transforming it into a minimum viable product. So I think that's really what you would want to prioritize next. And then I also see, Bruno, how much time do you have to pay the fee? The last date you need to confirm the payment. That depends on when you receive your selection notification. It's within usually 2 weeks from that date, but if we're cutting it close to the wire, if you're potentially maybe on the wait list and then you get accepted, it could be a little bit sooner to expedite ensuring that we can confirm your seat.
And Ramesh, can I send my grandson age 12, who is my passionate partner? No, it's this program, and I'm glad. It's actually a really great question. This program is for individuals that are 21 and older. Let's see, I think we are coming up on all of the questions.
I think we had one more from Vinicus.
I
think they're asking about how many ideas or startups or people. Like, how does that break out?
30 ideas, which could be 30 teams, more than 30 applications.
Yeah, so there'll be a total of about 30 people, and then how that breaks out between teams will vary. So I can't give you that number. We're still rounding out the cohort, you know, looking across diversity, gender diversity, ethnic diversity, geographical diversity, what the teams need, what the concentration of ideas are, things like that. There's a lot of work and time that goes into selecting this cohort because we can't take everybody. And if for some reason you don't make the first one, you can apply, and you know, we'll take a look again at the second one. The quality of your application is really important. I will tell you that.
Indeed. We're not doing very many, if any, formal phone calls or interviews, so you absolutely want to make sure what you're writing in your application reflects who you are and your ideas, and you want to be really well represented there because that is our data for making selection. I see Said, and apologies if I mispronounced your name. The fee has to be paid at one time, or could it be split by month? It is a one-time payment once you are accepted, and so that is, again, just to confirm your seat because we need to know that you are serious about your intention to join the program.
Oh, this is a good question from Nena. Sometimes when you are working on a project or idea, it stimulates another that springs from it. During the incubator program, can I work on 2 related ideas that can be built into 2 major companies?
Why not? I mean, I would say, you know, I know we come in kind of with that thinking. We don't want to limit our options, and at some point in time, though, you will want to limit them. If you've got 2, you know, ideas that you love and are wed to, I bet you there's a little bit of something in one and a little bit of something in 2 that creates your exponential idea, which will be the one you ultimately run after. So yes, to bring all of you, you know, bring all of your ideas, keep an open mind, learn what you can, communicate with the cohort, take advantage of the faculty and the resources, think, and strategize, and in that will bubble up something that I think will even shock you.
I think this is actually a key point because when people come into the incubator, you may come in with one idea, but through the course of the incubator, you may pivot, you may change, you may combine, and so that is, in fact, the goal of the incubator is to get you to the strongest possible business idea.
Absolutely. Absolutely. If I had a dime for every pivot.
And it's all, again, though, because of you have been now exposed to new information, and you'll be inspired pretty much every day. And I know I'm biased, I work here, but it still happens. Like the visionary kind of thinking and the real moonshot energy that is just, it's present here, and that helps you kind of transform the thoughts that you came in with to a new mindset and to new possibilities. You really start to expand what you could create, and the opportunities out of the businesses you were thinking about become much, I think, more just flourishing. New things that you could create.
Actually, that reminds me, we have forgotten to talk about one key piece of expertise. It's the experts in the room. The peer-to-peer cohort, the people that you would be working with are amazing, and you can learn as much from them as you can from the people on the stage. And that cross-sector learning, as Molly was just suggesting, inspires a lot of brilliance, and that's super exciting to watch.
So Sergio asks a great question, criteria for selection besides personal attributes. So sure, personal attributes are part of it, but they're not the whole piece. We're looking for the value of the idea. We're looking for the problem space that you're currently hovering around. We're looking to see understand your approach. And so the way that you answer the questions in the application helps signal us as to what what type of individual that you are.
And if you know Singularity, you know that it's going to come down to impact. What kind of positive impact are you trying to have in the world? Because it isn't going to be just about having a strong idea and a strong revenue model. It has to be solving one of these big problems. And we're hoping that you're using the exponential technologies to amplify that impact.
Absolutely. So as we mentioned in the beginning, our mission is to empower leaders to apply exponential technologies to address some of humanity's grandest challenges. In this case, we're looking at you as those potential and future leaders, and you have to be the person who's saying, hey, maybe I'm not the expert in this exponential technology, but I'll learn it or I'll find someone. This is what I'm going to apply, this technology. It's going to solve this major problem. This is how, and this is why it really matters.
Yep. All right, we're coming up on time. We can probably squeeze in a couple more questions if there's something burning in you that you haven't had answered yet.
Looks like we got a couple jumping in at the last minute here.
Yep.
Is the program also focused on community-based business projects, disruptive community development for millions of people instead of just technology?
Yeah, absolutely.
Bring it.
I think that sounds awesome. I love the impact thinking there. And again, another exciting sort of bonus by being at SU is you never know what you will discover and what kind of ways you could apply an exponential technology to what you thought it was purely a non-tech solution. We have some examples of our portfolio companies, a nonprofit in our portfolio company called Just Dig It that has a pretty non-tech solution. It's actually truly low-tech, just digging bored holes in the ground to help regreen the earth in sub-Saharan Africa. And yet they, by coming to SU, have begun to think about what kind of technologies can be applied. And we think that's amazing, and that's really our sweet spot, is helping you merge those two.
And Ozzy, you're absolutely right. Even if your solution isn't heavily tech, fintech or other types of technologies or unconventional partnerships could be the thing that allows your less than technical startup to really amplify results. So we do look at how we can meet you up with other companies, with other services that can really support you, and that could be the way that exponential technology aids your solution.
Rohan, I saw you asked if the webinar will be available for listening to after. Absolutely. You'll have an email with the recording, so feel free to listen to that and follow back up if there's any other questions after you give it a listen. Happy to discuss.
And Molly, you're sending an FAQ, right?
I will, sure. Anyone who wants to follow up and sends us a request for the FAQ, I'm happy to send you an 8-page FAQ with more details about this program.
Ramesh, you're asking about a link to a primer for exponential technologies. So a couple of thoughts here. We have a digital education program which people can sign up for, and we actually incorporate some of our digital education into our programs. But in addition to that, I would say we check out our Medium post, our Singularity Hub, and I'll share those links here.
Yeah, I saw Samar asked, other than the fee to get into the program, is there any other percent for SU if a startup does become a unicorn and is 10x exited? We admire your ambition here. Way to think. Yeah, love it. No, this is an equity-free incubator, so we will not be taking equity for whatever you create here. Our hope is ultimately that you do form a startup, and then once you have that formal entity, you would be eligible to join SU Ventures, which is our portfolio, and there is equity involved, but again, you get a lot more services and bang for your equity in the portfolio.
All right. Well, this has been really awesome. I mean this genuinely. I look forward to seeing a lot of your faces as you apply and working with you on your ideas. We've got an incredible team, incredible resources here, and don't hesitate to ask any more questions that you'd like. You can email us at, are we doing?
Ventures@su.org. Indeed.
Ventures@su.org. Jill just popped in the SingularityHub.com link, and bid you all good evening or good morning or good day, and we'll talk to you soon.
Yeah, thanks again for joining, and we certainly hope that you submit an app, and we'll see you in April.
All right.
Or maybe September.
Bye.